comes down to one final game for the Chandler Gilbert women's soccer team. A playoff berth is on the line as they face the Cochise Apaches. The kickoff live from Chandler Gilbert right here in the Chandler Gilbert Sports Network. Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Pequeno alongside Bryce Johnson. And Bryce, this is what it all comes down to for Scott Smith's team. They had a chance to clinch a playoff berth last Saturday at Mesa. Unfortunately, the team did not show up. They lost that one by the count of 4-1. So the playoff scenario is like this for Chandler Gilbert. If they win tonight against a very good Cochise team, they clinch a playoff berth. If they lose and Mesa loses at Glendale tonight, then Chandler Gilbert punches its postseason ticket. Needs to say if Mesa wins and Chandler Gilbert loses, Mesa goes. So needs to say it's all about destiny is right in their hands in the final game of the regular season.
No, absolutely. And, you know, as a player and as a coach, at the beginning of the season, if you can say, hey, it comes down to one game and you control it, you know, more often than not, right, you'll take those odds and say, all right, let's go out there for 90 minutes and earn what we feel like we can earn. So, you know, interesting for them with, like you said, right, Saturday, bit of a disappointing result, the 4-1 loss. But fortunately, enough wins throughout the regular season that, again, they still have their future in their own hands.
Chandler Gilbert, conference record 4-6-1. Mesa Community College 4-7. So tonight they take on a Cochise team that is very talented. 4-4-2. They're in Division I. This is a squad that led ranked Arizona Western late and lost that match 3-2. They tied Phoenix College 1 apiece. They're not going to the postseason, but talking to their head coach, these ladies want to finish on top and make some memories along the way.
Oh, absolutely. You know, you and I were talking about it before the broadcast. You know, a lot of freshmen on this team as well. So when you're building a program as only a second-year head coach, right there at Cochise, you know, the last game of the season, when you can send it on a high note, that just does a lot for your program, for the building blocks for the following season. You know, everyone goes into the off season with a good taste in their mouth. Everyone's then at that point a lot hungrier for more when you ended on that positive note, and it's something that can drive the next 9 months, which ultimately sets you up for the next season. So there will not be any lack of effort or anything taken for granted from this Cochise team either.
The squad is coming off a 6-0 win over Gateway. Paula Gonzalez with a pair of goals for the Apaches, and they are led by arguably the freshman of the year, or maybe even the conference player of the year, and Sabrina Amascua, 17 goals. And Bryce, kind of give us a breakdown when a freshman comes in and just lights the lamp 17 times. How special are they?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, it's one of those things where the question as a coach whenever you recruit a player is, okay, yeah, they're excellent at the high school level or at the club level, but when you get around 11 other players that have something special as well in a collegiate program, is that individual going to be able to raise their level one more time? And that's always the big question mark, but it's a question that's been answered repeatedly by Sabrina this season with, like you said, 17 goals in 10 conference matches. I mean, there's obviously something to build around there for Cochise.
Paula Gonzalez with 5 goals. You look at the numbers for the Coyotes, it's Juanita Morales with 6 goals, followed by Cheyenne Castillo and Allie Davis with 5 apiece. Starting lineup for Chandler Gilbert. Quickly, before we get the national anthem, between the pipes, number 88, Samantha Haug, that is. Defender, number 9, Aaron Holt, is your center back. Your left back is number 13, Jessica Varney. On the right side, you have Cadence Turner, number 15. Ashley Farr, a defender as well. Your midfielders, number 77, Faith Reyna, as well as we kind of dissect this, Aaliyah Aguilar, also in the mid, and you also have Corinne Noose, and that's starting back as well. And then your forwards, Allie Davis, as well as Cheyenne Castillo, and Samantha Haug, once again, is your goalkeeper. So this is a team that knows it didn't play well. When I talked to Allie Davis and Ashley Farr, they said collectively the communication wasn't there. So now they have a chance, and they're excited, and Corinne said this is what it's all about. It comes down to one final game and a chance to punch their ticket. And now they get a really big challenge against this Cochise team that is well coached, that ultimately comes in with a record of 6-5-2, and as you mentioned, they are still building their program, and they're coming with a purpose. And they had to deal with some adversity here. Their bus on the way from their part of Arizona was involved or waiting for had to wait through an accident to actually get the girls and get here. So it took some time, and so that's why the match, which was supposed to start at 5 p.m., is pushed back 30 minutes. And for us, it's kind of a good thing, because in about 15 minutes or so, the sun will set and we will actually be able to see the field.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's been a good season, like you said, for Cochise, but again, one that leading some of the top teams in the division late in matches, but hasn't been able to necessarily close. They could maybe look at and say could have gone a little better for them, but again, both teams maybe with an excuse here or there as to what's happened so far this season, but this final game boils down to, hey, it's prove it time for both sides.
Apaches led by second-year coach Ricky Escalera, and talking to Coach, had a nice conversation with him the other day. Very nice and polite. Called me back on Sunday. We had a chance to talk. He is from Bueno Park, California. 15 new players, 6 are starters. Good season, but they expected a lot more. And there are some colleges that are going to come out and check out some of his players. So they've got some talent, and they are playing the role of spoiler. And we'll take a moment for the national anthem. And we are moments away from the Coyotes kicking off against the Cochise Apaches. And Bryce, give us kind of the mindset of the Coyotes in a must-win situation, because yes, they can check the scoreboard, but they have the opportunity to seal their own fate.
No, absolutely. As a player and as a coach, when it is completely in your own hands, what happens to you? There's a sense of assurance, and some players rise to that and thrive in that, and others maybe shy away from it. I think we're going to learn a lot about a bunch of these freshmen tonight, and for the future of the program going forward, who those players are that say, hey, you know what, the pressure's on. This is one game, and this is our opportunity. And again, big players step up in big moments, and that's something that as a coaching staff that you're looking for is hey, all right, this is ours. We know what we need to do. Now let's get it done.
Center rep tonight is Paul Nothman. Your AR1 is Mike Ambrose, and AR2 is Tanner Denton, of course, Chandler Gilbert in the white and teal, and you got the Apaches in their road black and red. And this is a squad, as we mentioned, they feel that they let some games slip away, and Coach Escalera building his program, and they're going to have 14 returners next year. So he has a lot to build on, and Scott and his staff as well. And for Scott Smith and his team to be in this situation after enduring all the injuries and unfortunately a letdown against Mesa, they still have a chance, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, this is easily a team that could have, folded up shop earlier on in the year with how many injuries they did have. They battled through it, and were at least able to get to this point. Again, at the beginning of the season, I think obviously being involved in the conference tournament was something that was a bit of an expectation, you'd say, for this team. But again, you look at how many man minutes missed up and down the lineup, and you know, it'd be real easy to use that as an excuse and say, oh well, we didn't get in because. But again, they have the full opportunity tonight to be able to put that behind them and say, we got in still because we could, right?
And here we go. The Coyotes do get a boost tonight. Midfielder Taylor Brown is back from a lower leg injury, and she'll be on the field tonight for the Coyotes at some point. And the Coyotes trying to come out with a burst of energy as Cheyenne Castillo makes some noise against Alicia Andrews, the goalkeeper, who knocks it up the field. And we kind of talk about the Cochise Apaches. This is a team that led Arizona Western, who comes into this final week a record of 11-0, 12-1 overall, nationally ranked, and led them late before letting that slip away. So this is a Cochise team that very talented, as we got some physicality going right off the bat.
You love to get stuck into a tackle early on in a game like this, right? You know, feel the contact, feel the game, get into the game, and then you know, build your way into it then from a technical perspective from there.
Samantha Haug, her 63 saves, ranks 8th in the conference and is ranked 10th in goals allowed at 3 per kick. She'll man the duties for the Coyotes between the pipes. Early on, both teams feeling each other out. Coach Escalera and Coach Smith right to our left. Both providing some assistance and guidance to their respective teams. Aaron Holt, a little pooch kick, works that out, tries to get that to Cheyenne, and it was knocked the other way.
Space very condensed here early on. Both teams with a rather high line, and not a lot of room in midfield to work the ball so far here the first couple minutes.
And I think that's paramount for Chandler Gilbert, is to really contain as Cheyenne trying to work her way. And this one is knocked. Allie Davis. Davis shoots it across, and that is knocked away by the back end and shot from the left side, and that one goes out. And Megan Castle with a good cross from Allie Davis had an opportunity.
Yeah, I would hope that she'd be able to at least put something on target early on there. Test the goalkeeper, maybe a little bit of the jitters first 2 minutes of the match. Opportunity falling to you. Again, would love to see her be able to put that on target, but hopefully able to shake it off, put on the next one.
12 games. Coyotes, of course, as we mentioned, in league play, 4-6-1. 4-7-1 overall, scored 26 goals, averaging 2 goals, .245 shot percentage, 9 shots and 3 goals allowed per game. The squad had its 4-match unbeaten streak snapped by Mesa, and that's always tough at this point in the season. Cochise enters 6-5-2 overall, 4-4-2 in league play. They play hard, and as we mentioned, they've played some of the best teams in this league. In games, 13, they've scored 44 goals, putting up 3 goals with a shot percentage of .293 with 11 shots and 2 goals allowed per game. They are 3-2 on the road, and they've got some young ladies that really can put the ball in the net. So I think, as you mentioned, Bryce, space, the tightening it up on the defensive side for the Coyotes, paramount, and for the forwards, make some noise early, build some confidence, and after the 1-goal effort against Mesa.
Oh, absolutely. And a couple of things that you and I talked about a bit in the pregame too that are interesting to note as a Cochise attack is offside. Allie Davis moving over from the left wing over here to the right in front of us on the near side of your screen for all of you watching at home. Again, we've seen her deployed on both sides, but the last 3 matches over on the left, switching it up here, moving Megan Castle over to the left wing, Allie here on the right. And Faith Reyna deployed as another central defensive midfielder rather than how she's been playing the last 3 or 4 matches, deployed a little further up the pitch as an attacking midfielder. So very interesting to see how some of those changes are held.
Allie Davis shoots that up, and that one a diving, leaping stop and by Alicia Andrews. And Allie Davis with a quality boot from about 25 yards out, and Alicia Andrews, if she doesn't get the paw on it, it's a 1-0 Coyotes lead.
Oh, that is a phenomenal save from a goalkeeper. 5 minutes in, something from distance. I mean, that thing was put directly in the return address area, if that's an envelope right there, top corner. And that's just an even great shot, but an even better save. Absolutely huge moment 5 minutes into the match.
But you gotta love the accuracy by Allie. You know, we've seen some matches in the past. She'd take that shot, nowhere close. That one was dead on target. So now it's the Apaches on the other side of the field as we are now into the 6 minute of action in this, basically a playoff game for the Coyotes to get into the postseason. Once again, a win and they're in. A loss and Mesa wins and Mesa punches its ticket. If both teams lose, Chandler Gilbert gets in. A slew of scenarios, and ultimately it comes down to taking care of home turf. Jessica Barney will work that back over to.
Turn it face. Hey, coming to the left. Shift left. Bow.
A clear out opportunity for the Coyotes. No score. As Ashley Farr will let this one go.
confidence moving forward here.
So we are going into the 13th minute of this first half. A playoff atmosphere for the Coyotes. A win, and they punch their ticket to the postseason, or with a Glendale victory over Mesa. Mesa also vying for the last playoff spot. Coyotes lost to Mesa with a chance to punch their ticket on Saturday, and now it's up to their play and the soccer gods up in Glendale to see how that one fares against Mesa. And Cochise, a team looking to end strong, coming off a 6-0 win over Gateway, a team that had some bus issues, but they're here, and Coach Escalera building his program just like Scott. And, you know, Bryce, you're in the same situation with Coach Zach Camp, and, you know, what's it like to be a coach in that second year? You're still trying to build a program. You're still trying to implement your system. Along the way, you've got players you've recruited, and along the way, you've got some players that you're still trying to work with that were not part of the formula that you wanted to instill.
Yeah, you know, again, you know, sometimes in those instances you get some surprises of players that maybe, you know, fit right into what you're trying to do. But ultimately, at that stage of the program, it's a matter of, you know, consistency and lack of turnover from a style standpoint, right? You've got your message across. You know what it is that you're trying to do on a game in and game out basis, and then you're working through players that are able to come in and take the instruction and do what's needed, and then, you know, be able to go in and get additional pieces from there that will, you know, enhance the foundation that you've already made. And again, for a coaching staff with as many freshmen, you know, as Coach Scott Smith does have here, that's a huge thing for him, is going to be able to see, all right, which players, right, are the ones that are going to be relied upon next year, and in what spots, you know, do they play, and then how do I add to that moving forward, and then obviously hopefully getting some additional contribution from freshmen this year through some, you know, big improvements in the offseason, working on specific things that maybe they need to improve upon. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, how this team progresses. But again, we've had enough evidence from this Lady Coyote squad that they've looked really, really good in moments against other really good teams, right? So overall, the foundation of, I think, this season has been a positive one.
And let's give some credit. Just a short time ago, Samantha Haug on the save off the corner kick, a header point blank, and she was able to take that in. And now it's Jessica Varney right in front trying to set up her offense, and Cheyenne Castillo and Cochise works it back down to Alicia Andrews. And Alicia Andrews right now is the difference in this one being tied at 1. Just a big save on a boot by Allie Davis in the upper left corner. She got her hand on it. Just a tremendous shot, and even a better save by Alicia Andrews. And checking in for Cochise is number 17, Mafalda Martins, a sophomore forward from Almada, Portugal. So Cochise is getting players from all over the universe as well.
Love a good little international flavor to a team. It always brings a little fun different element for you.
Yeah. Being that we are close to the border, soccer is such a huge sport in Arizona, of course. In Mexico, it is the king of all sports, and soccer is universally the greatest sport on the planet. Well embraced. We saw the great turnouts in the Women's World Cup, record crowds, and all the upsets we saw, and just great play on that stage. And ultimately, it was the Spaniards winning the World Cup. All the animosity they went through with their head coach, and they managed to pull it all together and win that World Cup. And, you know, it almost seems like, for all the talk about their head coach and the talk behind the scenes of how abusive he was and all the different things, it seemed like maybe that those players were so galvanized to eventually get it done, as Samantha once again left on an island. She was able to swoop it up as a Cochise attacker was closing in.
Oh yeah, I love her coming off the line a little bit there. Again, commanding the box is what you talk about a lot when you're coaching goalkeepers. And again, it helps your back line out a lot when they know if something's hit big over the top that you're able to come and give them a little bit of assistance, come out and get that, whether it's with your hands or feet. So good work there. Again, the early error, but I feel like we're seeing Samantha work her way back into this game, and obviously going to continue to be a vital resource for the Lady Coyotes if they're going to come out on top here at the end of the night.
We're roughly about 18, 19 minutes into this first half, and of course, halftime we'll see if we can check in, get a score from Glendale to see exactly how that match is faring as well. The Coyotes win, they control their destiny, they punch their ticket to the postseason. A loss and a Mesa loss, and Chandler Gilbert is in. A Mesa win, Chandler Gilbert loss, and it's Mesa going to the postseason. About to check in is the force from Basha High, Taylor Brown, who's recovered from a lower body injury, and that's always a plus to have one of the returners from last year's team. And we're not talking about a lot either. We're talking about Aaron Holt and Taylor Brown, and that's essentially it. It's a very young team. It's freshmen across the board. And Taylor provides that great leadership at midfield, and she'll be able to provide a spark and provide some leadership out there and provide some rest for another player as well.
Yeah, and at this point of the season, all your freshmen you can, kind of look at as pseudo-sophomores, or certain players that have maybe then, risen to the occasion of what college soccer looks like, right? And you've got players that then maybe show you moments of that, right? And again, as a coaching staff, when we're talking about, building a program year over year, that's what you're looking for, is those freshmen, and how long did it take, or does it take them to get to that level of, okay, hey, you can't necessarily distinguish them as a freshman or sophomore because they've raised the level quickly. And I think the Lady Coyotes have had that in moments from some of these freshmen, and then, some have taken a little longer to grow into the season. But again, flashes of really, really, really good moments from them throughout this year so far.
And you can tell the ball skills from this Cochise team. Just really good one-on-one play. They read depth well and able to turn some corners. This one shot across, and
it's in again.
And that is in again. Another goal, and this time as we'll get a number for you. And the thing about the jerseys are so tough because they're dark black and red.
Another goal for number 7.
Sabrina Amascua, who came in, scores again. She had 17 coming into this one. She now has 19, which leads the conference. So she has been as good as advertised. Point blank, and an equalizer in that attacking position for Cochise.
Oh, absolutely. Again, I mentioned earlier kind of that fox in the box type striker, right? I mean, again, she was initially marked, but as the cross came in, was able to create a little separation off the back shoulder of the center back and found herself unmarked. And when you're able to do that inside the 18, the best strikers find those positions and then end up putting it away. Two shots and 2 goals from her. She's been very clinical in front of net.
So I want to kind of get your thoughts, Bryce, on the way the scheduling works out in this conference, because I think this Cochise team they're a D1 team and easily capable of a couple things would have worked out differently to be in the postseason. I think the way the schedule should be worked out is that because you're vying for a playoff spot, you should be playing teams in your division. So Cochise should be playing against Arizona Western at this point of the season. Chandler Gilbert should be playing against their D2 opponents, Glendale, Paradise Valley, Phoenix College, Scottsdale Community College, right? I think that's the way it should work out at this point.
Yeah,
because you're vying for playoffs in those regions, in those divisions.
Yeah, no, exactly. The way that the conference is set up, I mean, it's a large conference with a lot of really, really good teams, which from a recruiting standpoint, right, as a coach, you get to talk about all the top level programs that you get to play. Again, especially being a junior college, right, that part of the point for players to come here is to say, hey, you know what, I didn't get the D1, D2 offer that I wanted, the NCAA level, let's go to a junior college, get another year, maybe 2 years under my belt, and then I can, springboard to an offer that I really want. but without that delineation of Division I or Division II from a JUCO standpoint, right, it makes it harder to kind of to know and see where exactly you're at throughout the year. And again, if maybe you keep it the way it is, where you're playing against other D1 opponents, NJCAA D1s, that's fine, because again, it's fun playing against some of the best teams around. However, again, maybe, like you said, put a lot of those games earlier on. That way the last 4 or 5 matches are truly against the other teams that it's like, okay, hey, it's you or it's me, and one of us is getting in, and you have a little bit more clarity around what life looks like for you on a day-to-day basis.
It's just like the NBA, NFL, NHL, Major League Baseball. You're playing teams in your division that will have an impact on the final say, and then it makes the intensity of that match so much better, because it could be for a potential playoff seeding. Imagine like if Chandler Gilbert was playing Mesa in this game right now with a playoff berth on the line, how big that would be. And of course, the game is still big. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to underplay. I just think that playing teams within your division are paramount at this point in the season, where you could play a slew of those games, as we'll take a water break right now, and with Cochise leading 2-0, where you could play a handful of those D1 opponents, like you mentioned, early in the season, mid-season, but then when you get your final 7, 8 games, it's all your D2 opponents, and they're stacked, and you're going to win on the field against who you could be matched up against, or a rival that you're trying to outwit and outmatch for a postseason berth.
No, absolutely. Again, the committee has plenty of tough decisions to make as far as how they put everything together, and again, that's something you'd love to see find its way into the suggestion box.
So we are at the halfway point of this first half. Mother Nature, sun is setting. We can see the field clearly. Not so much on the jerseys of Cochise. We can see them because they're only about 20, 30 feet away, but when they're on the other side of the field, black jerseys with red outlining, very, very difficult to see. But what we have seen so far, Bryce, we talked about their skill set, and a team that has lost some tough matches. They've got skill, and they've got one of the best scorers who's good as advertised, and Sabrina Asmazkua with a couple goals, and now leading the league with 19.
No, absolutely. Again, you saw the stat sheet coming into the game, and that's something where it would be interesting to see, where she lines up specifically on the pitch. But she's spent a lot of her time living in between the two center backs, and once the ball's found the final third, she's been very creative with her runs. Not necessarily anything special, and not in a bad way, but right, it doesn't, when you're a central forward like that, there's not necessarily too much that oftentimes you have to do in order to get open for your wingers, right? It's small movements, it's little 5 and 10 yard runs in between the little gaps in the back four that you really find your home, and again, 2 touches of the ball in the box, 2 goals. It's clinical, it's efficient, and again, that's why we've seen her, at nearly a 2-goal per game clip in conference play now, with 19 in 11 matches, with 60 minutes still to go.
Alicia Andrews with the great save against Allie Davis. Only 1 shot on goal for the Coyotes so far. How do they generate some more offense?
Yeah, it feels as if that save was the turning point. I mean, Megan Castle had a great look just from inside the top of the box as well, that was put wide, and if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. But unfortunately, you can't live in the past, you have to look forward. Again, it was a lot of good small passing to feet through the midfield that ultimately sprung Davis on both of the attempts, both hers that was saved and the Megan Castle effort that went wide. So again, I'd look to try to get my central midfield to try to control a little bit more of the tempo, and when they move the ball, it forces the back line to have to shift and adjust to where the ball is in the middle of the field, and that's typically when you can get your wingers sprung in behind. So again, it's probably been a good 10 plus minutes since we've seen either Megan or Allie Davis on the ball for the Lady Coyotes. So would love to see a little bit of possession, get a little bit of control back into the game.
Mackenzie Welsh about to check in for the Coyotes, and the squad trailing 2-0. Cochise coming to town, and coming off a 6-0 win over Gateway. Of course, Chandler Gilbert with an opportunity Saturday to punch their ticket, fell short against Mesa. Mesa all of a sudden playing hot down the stretch with 3 straight victories. And so Chandler Gilbert taking on an opponent that, talking to their head coach, Coach Escalera, felt that his squad, they leave tonight, they want to leave with some good memories, but felt that they fell short of ultimately making the playoffs. And this is a team only in its second year building and a lot of talent. And of course, we well documented Sabrina Amascua and Paula Gonzalez, their second leading scorer. They've got skill, they work well in the open field, and so far they've controlled the tempo in this one. But still a lot of time left, 21 minutes left in the first half, and of course we'll try to get you an update on the game in Glendale between the Gauchos and Mesa.
Yeah, interesting thing to note real quick too that you guys will probably be able to see on the stream here coming out of the water break. So a possible tactical adjustment here from Coach Smith. The Lady Coyotes looking like they're coming out with just the 2 strikers, Allie Davis and Cheyenne on the left. So a 2-striker system, and then maybe loading up the midfield a little bit more. So possibly hoping to try to control a little bit more of the space and the ball centrally located on the field with that adjustment. So something to keep an eye on here for the rest of the first half.
Alicia Andrews getting the ball dumped back down her way as Allie Davis right in front of her view. And now it's the Apaches coming up. Coyotes trying to clear it out. Taylor works it up the field. Allie Davis giving chase. Cochise doing a nice job in that back end. Sabrina Ramos Kamada, number 4, doing a nice job now, racing up that left side, providing that extra attacker on that back end. So for Cochise, when you see their defensive back end coming up and just taking off, what kind of confidence does Coach Escalera have on his back end right now, the way they've been able to control the game and be able to take chances on that back end?
Oh, absolutely. Again, they've found themselves numbers up more often than not. So whenever you have good players in the back and you have either one numerical advantage, you usually like to have them, again, keep it, break the line, and then get involved into the next group of play. So again, whether it's your outside backs getting involved on the wings, or one of your central backs being able to move into midfield to create numerical advantages there. It's nice when you've got players that have enough technical ability in the back in order to kind of create problems at the next layer.
So right now, Alicia Andrews once again, command control, works it to her left side, and waiting is Valentina Velasquez. She gets the ball back and a little centering pass. Cochise tactically, almost a perfect little triangle as the Coyotes just try to clear it out, get it back upfield, but Cochise is there, punching it up. And that one is knocked away for a brief second by Ashley Farr. Cochise, technically sound and having their attacking back, adding more effort and energy to put more pressure on the Coyotes.
No, absolutely. We saw it there, the goalkeeper springing her left back, getting her into the attack, moving forward. So again, with the 2-striker system that it looks like the Coyotes have played into, those wingbacks are going to be even more available as an option playing out of moving forward. So we'll see how that kind of develops as we've got a substitution here for the Coyotes.
Leah Aguilar checking in. Leah Aguilar Alvarez. So Coach Smith right now having a conversation, trying to, and that one is knocked in, and another goal scored by Cochise. Blasted from that right side on the putback opportunity.
Paula Gonzalez finishing home the effort, originally shot again by Sabrina Amiskua, who's been a thorn in the side of the Lady Coyotes so far this evening.
So Paula Gonzalez now with 6 goals on the year, and the lead is now 3-0 for Cochise, and the Apaches really taking control of this one as Mackenzie Welsh giving chase. And right now for the Coyotes, it's about finding the will and not allowing space and not allowing this Cochise team a lot of opportunity to roam free. We've seen that. We've seen their attackers get open in the open field, and they don't miss when they're close. 10, 15 feet away, they finish.
Absolutely. I'd love to see. You're looking for a momentum play right now as a coach, right? You want one of your players to step up and just find something to get a little bit of footing back into the game, whether it's a really big tackle where you crunch a player, or even a shot that maybe even gets saved or goes just wide, but something from one of your leaders on the field here to try to grab a little bit of momentum back in this match, because you can feel it continuing to slip the other direction. And again, just some kind of hard play to get your team kind of revived and a little bit of energy back in it.
Samantha Haug on that sliding stop. A mere reprieve for the Coyotes for the moment, but Cochise just continues for the most part as the Coyotes have a throw-in to control possession.
Yeah, I loved the initial run there by Megan Castle, thrown out from the back from the goalkeeper, and she was moving forward with pace, but not a lot of options for her off the ball there, and possession surrendered. It's one of those things, you know, as a coach, you always tell your team, hey, value the ball, right? Enjoy possession. And if you even want to be a little lazy, you don't have to defend it if you have it, right? So if you work a little harder when you're on it, you don't run into as many problems defending, which, again, we've seen the Coyotes doing too much of, giving away possession and then being stuck on their heels and on the back foot.
Sabrina Ramos-Camata's done a nice job in that back end. See her working her way up to midfield. This one punched down. Cochise on that left side. Leah Aguilar-Alvarez giving chase. Over in the middle, Karen Noose is there. Crossing pass. Cochise working at the back end, now coming up through that right side. That's a shot, and that one is wide. Once again, space. Cochise utilizing it well and getting another shot off.
Yeah, the right back getting involved there. Good spell of possession through the midfield, and then able to spring their right back forward and getting involved in the attack. A bit of an errant cross, but again, another good spell of possession.
So Cochise with a comfortable 3-0 lead. Talking to their head coach. Mentioned that there might be some colleges out here tonight to check out some of his players. So
Yeah, we see your number.
so far his top performers are answering the bell as Karen Noose checking in and Tessa Vrolik checking in for the Apaches.
A little bit more international flavor coming all the way from The Hague in the Netherlands. Gravendreef College transfer. So the international bit continues.
And that's the beautiful thing about highlights you can put together and send them out. Games are streamed all over the world, and coaches can see where all these great kids are coming from in all kinds of different locations, and pick out a player from across the pond and bring them right here to the States.
12 officially listed on the roster for Cochise from a nation outside of the U.S. So, you know, it's an interesting recruiting strategy. There's a lot of players to weed through when you do that. It's something I know that on the men's side of the ball we've looked at, and it brings a whole new element as another goal is scored.
Another goal is scored by Cochise. And once again, Sabrina Amiskua now has a hat trick in this first half.
The opening 33 minutes.
So she came in with 17 goals. She now has 20 and a hat trick in this first half alone. And the lead is now 4-0.
Well, and again, didn't get the other goal scored, but it was a direct microcosm of her beating two defenders in the box and forcing a good save, and the rebound was put back into the net as well. So direct contributions on all four so far. So again, she's been as good as advertised.
Right now, Scott Smith is having some words of wisdom with his team because he feels that right now some of his kids are watching the game instead of playing it.
Yeah.
And at this point, safe to say, you can never put a temperature gauge on the want and skill, but at this point, the stakes are so high for the Coyotes that there's not a moment to relent whatsoever. The effort and energy has to be there tonight. And in a scenario where they win, they're in. And now, trailing 4-0, they're hoping Glendale can somehow knock off Mesa, a Mesa team that found its way late in the season and now has a chance to punch their ticket with a win over Glendale tonight.
No, absolutely. And I had a college coach back when I played, and his saying he always would give us pre-match was, "Hey, if you let up for a second, that's where you're finish." And there's only two teams out there, so figure the math. And yeah, it's something that again, if hopefully can get clicked back into place, and the Coyotes can play maybe the way they did the first 8-10 minutes or so of the match, and you get the momentum turning, and build on it from there.
Juanita Morales about to check in. This one, a diving stop by Samantha Haug, who's been under rapid fire in this first half. That back end has been kind of dissected by the scoring ability of Sabrina Amaskua and those talented forwards of Cochise. And of course, they've controlled the ball at the midfield. So much so, the attacking back has been able to come up and lend support.
No, absolutely. But again, if I have it, you can't score, and it's something that Cochise has been able to do tonight. The Apaches have been moving the ball effectively throughout their midfield three and then into the wide areas. And again, outside of maybe, like we said, the first 7 or 10 minutes, has been able to do a lot of what they wanted to.
Under 10 minutes left in this first half. Noose trying to punch it away. Working it up to Allie Davis, and Davis has it taken away, and good hustle play by Cochise. Davis, ball back, pooches up. Juanita in a battle. Now this one is punched up that left side. Opportunity, Megan Castle. Castle, shot is up, and that one is just wide. Wide of the right post by, call it less than 5 feet, but in a good tacking sequence by the Coyotes.
Absolutely, they found their central striker, who ultimately lost possession, but it went back the way it was intended into central midfield, and again, created some space, forced a defender to pull up to pressure the ball, and a great through pass that was split between the outside and the center backs there for a shrieking Megan Castle. And again, second effort from her tonight that was decently struck, but just a fraction wide.
Alicia Andrews in the goalkeeper's orange outfit, striking that one past midfield. Noose trying to boot that up the offensive way. Now it's knocked on that back end. Jessica Varney giving chase. Varney and Cochise applying all kinds of pressure, and Cochise will throw it in. Michaela Rodriguez with Allie Davis
Now reset. Good, so
right in front of her. Emily Greska.
Good, good. Hey, pull Mafi back with you. Pull Mafi back.
And coming up that left side, Megan Castle shoots it up, unfortunately into a wall of black and red. Allie Davis. And that one, talk about a good read by Alicia Andrews. And that's a moment of do I or don't I? Andrews read that well.
Oh, absolutely. A little sweeper keeper action as she was able to get through. But that's what we talked about a little earlier, right? Is a back four. You can play that higher line when you know if you're beaten with the ball through. If it isn't hit perfectly, if it's overhit, your goalkeeper can come and bail you out. And Alicia was able to do that there, coming all the way from London, England.
So fans are wondering, the Mesa Glendale game started an hour before us. As Megan Holt about to check in, so that game into probably the second half right now, and we'll try to get an update for you as we go. A 4-0 Apaches lead. Megan Holt coming in. Leah Aguilar-Alvarez. So right now the coaching staff for the Coyotes trying to get that attacking back to provide some pressure and provide some support for the attacking forwards. And Bryce working his phone like a champ, trying to get an update. He knows how to work his iPhone. Well gifted in the art of electronic maneuvering.
I'm doing my best, my friend. Doing my best.
We also have Chandler Gilbert AD Russ Luce right to our right, who might be able to provide a score as well. Chandler Gilbert making some noise here. Megan Castle was coming up strong. Now Megan Holt pooches it and taken away. And Alicia Andrews coming up yet again and fires this one across midfield. Good boot. Punched up. Now she far has the ball taken away. Aaron Holt sliding attempt for some quick clear space. But Cochise having their back end, playing midfield and able to get it right back. Emily Greska, nice little pooch. Allie Davis just out of the reach, and Alicia Andrews will have a chance to reset.
Yeah, Allie was checking back there, back into midfield, trying to receive that ball to her feet when it was turned over, so she wasn't all the way up with the last defender there. So when the ball was played through, the outside back had a head start, and it doesn't matter how fast you are, if you're given 10 yards, more often than not, you're not going to get there first. So good effort, good idea. Ball's played in a good spot, but just not the right moment for it. Hopefully the Coyotes can iron that out here with just under 5 to play left here in the half.
Samantha brings that one in. Tries to knock it in midfield. Good header by the Apaches. Aaron Holt in a battle gets taken down, and there is a Apache player on the field. Good sportsmanship by Corinne Noose, helping her up off the turf. Coyotes possession, under 4 minutes left in this first half. And Bryce, for the Coyotes that have been outplayed, they can make amends in this final 4 minutes. What would you like to see?
Well, again, it starts with one. There's been a couple of opportunities that just, again, haven't gone in for the Lady Coyotes so far. But in order to get some of the momentum back, you just got to get one, right, and put a little bit pressure on from there. So, again, that's what I'm looking for, is a little bit of possession and trying to create a couple more opportunities so that one of them finally gets in, and then you get a little bit of confidence in you. You go, okay, hey, we can get one. Why can't we get two? If we get two, hey, why can't we get three? Hey, can we get four? Right? And it starts a nice little snowball effect for you from there.
One at a time, and build some confidence. Continue to move forward. Winding down at 3 minutes left in this first half from Chandler Gilbert. It's the Coyotes taking on the Cochise Apaches. Last regular season game of the year. It's all come down to this for Chandler Gilbert. They win and they're in the postseason. A loss and a Mesa loss tonight against Glendale. And they also punched their ticket. Cochise not heading to the playoffs in the D1 circuit, but definitely playing the role of spoiler and letting this part of the Arizona universe know that Coach Escalera in his second year might be building something special in his part of this region.
Oh yeah, they've looked really good throughout the first half so far. So it's going to be, again, interesting to see how he continues to put this program together and the players that he's able to bring in to do what they're trying to do. And again, they've got a clear style of play and with what they're looking to do when they find the ball. And so far, it's been exactly what they wanted to see from his squad.
Allie Davis takes a tumble, and Cochise will boot it out. Jessica Barney coming up. Throw in.
Into Juanita. Allie, run off it.
And coach calling for the throw into Juanita, and that's executed perfectly as Allie is in that corner. Allie shoots it across. Emily Greska. And that's punched up. Jessica Varney could not hold it in. $1:20 left.
Yeah, good effort there. A little good move from the Lady Coyotes. The ball found its way to a midfielder at the top of the circle on top of the 18, but just not able to find the final pass to spring someone in behind for a shot.
Varney from Cadence Turner. Megan Holt giving chase. Allie Davis coming from the attacking front. And Cochise diligently works the ball into the attacking forward space. Right now, a little room to operate, and Cochise is making the most of it as we wind down this first half. 30 seconds left. Coyotes coming off the loss to Mesa. That one is shot right into Samantha Haug, who corrals it in. 15 seconds left as Cochise will play out this second half, or the end of this first half, how they've started in control.
It's been mostly in favor of the ladies in black and red today, and it's a lot of the little things that we've seen in the first half. Perfect example of that just a moment ago from Allie Davis. Phenomenal job coming back to help and pressure and winning the ball, but then immediately turning around and just trying to play it forward rather than, hey, reward yourself for all that hard work. We've got possession of the ball. Find a simple pass into our, to my midfielders or maybe even my outside back to keep it and allow us to get ourselves out of pressure. But again, it was more of a, hey, just turn and hit and hope, and immediately lost pressure and nearly turned into another Cochise chance. So it's been those kind of moments that have been the difference so far between a team that looks like they're mostly in control of the match and the Lady Coyotes who have been chasing it ever since that save from Alicia Andrews 5 minutes in.
So now we'll take some time to see if we can get a score from the Mesa Glendale game. Keep it locked and loaded the second half, straight ahead on the Chandler Gilbert Sports Network. Score?
1-0.
Glendale?
Glendale, 2 minutes left.
2 minutes left.
Get a confirmation. And then I
Okay.
address what I need to address.
There you go.
Okay with you guys, we're gonna go ahead and diamond back this. Just fucking slide on backwards. Okay, just slide on
Hey,
backwards.
whatever it takes, man.
Hey, they're in the NLCS.
Whatever it takes. Okay, so that's fine. That's where we're at.
Is it final yet?
Oh, no, I'm thinking.
Oh, okay.
Well, give it a couple minutes. We'll wrap up.
That first goal goes in. It's a backbreaker. You've had two good chances.
Yeah.
One saved, and then one shot that went wide that you maybe wanted a little bit more from your attacker, and that's the goal that you give in to go down 1-0, and then they just went.
It's a soft goal.
Well, it was a terrible goal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was awful.
Yeah.
And then that goes in, and then the whole team just kind of went, oh, fuck.
Yeah. So from there was
And then it was just, which that's what happens. I mean, how many times you've seen our boys do it, right? The first, like when we lost to Glendale, 5-1. We gave, we gave a trash pass that got picked off in midfield, and our goalkeeper is way too high because he was expecting the ball played back to him, and the guy just takes a touch forward and hits it from 50 yards, and it's 1-0, 2 minutes into the game, 3 minutes into the game, and now every single one of them is looking at each other like, here we go again. Identical. Different mistake, identical impact and causation.
Yeah. So Russ is here. 1-0. 1-0.
1-0 GCC. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So they're in.
Yeah, I got to just.
Who's this?
Drew. Drew Garnier. He's the head coach at MCC. He's a buddy of mine.
Got it. So we'll come in 5 minutes.
Soccer Jesus.
He had 30 shots, he said?
That's what he's saying. Yeah.
How many shots did he say?
Well, he said 30 to 2. I don't know.
It's Drew. It could be 5 to 4. You know.
Yeah. Sure.
It depends on what mood he's in.
Yeah.
Depends on what.
When he sends me that, they probably still did have more.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
But it was just fishy. It's like we shot it 100 times and got none. They shot it twice and got one. You know what I mean? That's what it does.
Yeah. Yeah, I texted him. What are you guys doing?
Dude, come on.
I can't believe he answered.
No.
Knowing why you want to know.
Drew, I think we go way back.
We go way back too. I used to sit here right at this table when he was here.
Oh, he was here.
Yeah. And all of a sudden he had to leave. We had to hire some kid, 23-year-old knucklehead, John Johnson. Wasn't drawn to have that. He was never not one of his nights. Not once. 10-year run.
2-0.
Oh, we're down 2-0.
Yeah. All right.
Pretty good.
Go back on. And we welcome you back to Chandler Gilbert. We are in halftime between the Chandler Gilbert Coyotes and the Cochise Apaches. And right now it's all Apaches by the count of 4-0 as Scott Smith talks to his team. The good news coming out of Glendale, though, the Gauchos get it done, knocking off Mesa. So regardless of this Chandler Gilbert outcome, the Chandler Gilbert Coyotes are in the postseason.
Yeah, not the way necessary. Well, there's still 45 minutes left to play. Not the way that you'd necessarily draw it up. as Coach Matt Smith came over and spoke to us and joked about it. They're pulling a Diamondbacks route, just sliding back into the postseason the way that the Snakes did. But again, it's a consistent message now from this coaching staff for the second 45 minutes of, hey, now we're playing for the postseason in this next 45 minutes. Hey, we didn't do well the first 45. We didn't do what we want to do, but they'll know what their game plan is going to be going into match 1 of the postseason. And so this is a live dress rehearsal for that for 45 minutes going forward.
And Scott Smith can evaluate the desire of his team as they'll get ready to take on most likely Phoenix College. And Phoenix College is a team nationally ranked, a slew of athletic players, but last year when they met in the Region 1 semifinals, Coyotes lost that one 1-0. So different season, different players, but it really depends on the hard hat effort what you're going to give on game day. And Bryce, you were there against Mesa. The Coyotes lost that one 4-1, and now here we are. They're down 4-0. And what has to get better for this team to have a chance in the postseason?
Yeah, it's the removal of little errors, right? Again, it's a philosophy of a lot of coaches, and I know Coach Scott Smith and I kind of have a lot of agreements in this. Is just that the top teams, sometimes there's players that are special that can just do things that other people can't, right? But the majority of top teams, from player 1 to player 18 down the roster, they don't necessarily have to beat you by doing something spectacular, but rather doing all of the small things accurately, effectively, and a little bit quicker than you do. And that's the difference between, again, some of those top teams and some of the other teams, or some of the times we've seen Chandler Gilbert tonight. Perfect example of that being Sabrina Amiskua. Again, her 3 goals. Are any of those maybe necessarily shots or finishes that any of the Coyotes players are incapable of making? No, they were again, to give her all the credit in the world, good finishes from inside of 13, 14 yards into the corner, but it's not something that was revolutionary or some skill that, wow, that's a player that's a professional level player making that finish. But the moment the time came, there was no error and there was no mistake about it, and that's the difference right now.
Clean up the errors and more aggressive play. And Coach Smith has alluded to a lot in this first half, as you can get the sense he's feeling some of his players are watching the game instead of playing the game. And that's that at this point of the season when the playoffs are on the line, it's alarming. So this is where this second half, we kind of alluded to that it's a brand new season for the team. Now you really see who really wants to bring that A effort going forward, and maybe that affects the lineup going into that first playoff matchup.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I've really enjoyed Megan Castle's game so far in that first half. She's the one player in white that stood out to me the most. Again, the Lady Coyotes came out with the 4-3-3 like we anticipated. They've played most of the season, but then kind of moved more into a 5-3-2. And Megan Castle was playing more of like that left midfielder, like a left wing back, and we saw her get involved moving forward, but also do a good job defensively. Again, all of the danger from the Apaches so far has been down their left-hand side. I mean, point blank, Megan looked like she just was the hardest working player in white so far in that first half. And again, hopefully that's something where the rest of the team can feed off of in the next 45 minutes as we see them getting back onto the field. We see her actually making her way over to the right side of defense now for the Lady Coyotes. So will be interesting to see another one. Faith Reyna, again, you've seen her play really, really well at times this season. Someone that we really didn't call her name much in that first 45.
So Coach Scott Smith and his coaching staff will evaluate. The good news, the Coyotes are in. Glendale has knocked off Mesa 1-0. So the Coyotes have backed their way into the playoffs, but the bottom line is for a team that is still building. Scott Smith in his second year. What kind of recruiting chip can you use that for recruits out there saying you've made the postseason 2 years in a row?
Oh, absolutely. That's huge, right? Players, top players want to be in top places, and being able to say you've made the tournament is a huge difference than saying, hey, we just barely missed it, as he hears us talking about it and nods at us as the ball nearly found one of us. My feet were ready. I was ready for it, Joe.
Yeah.
But no, it's huge from a recruiting standpoint because, again, we've talked about building blocks on multiple broadcasts, and that is one of them, to say, hey, we are a conference playoff team, and we're looking to build on it from there. Not a, hey, we're a good team looking to get to that point. So, again, you raise the floor a little bit, and then now the ceiling can get higher.
And Chandler Gilbert looking to end this second half strong and make the Apaches work. The Apaches with some really heartbreaking winless matches. A game against conference leader Arizona Western, ranked nationally. They led that one late and couldn't hold Arizona Western off. And same situation against Phoenix College and settled for a tie. And Coach Escalera in his second year, just like Coach Smith, building. And next year he'll have 14 returners. And maybe, by chance, maybe if he's fortunate enough, Sabrina Amaskua is coming back. But when you get a performance like the one she's having this season, 3 goals tonight, 20 on the year, does a freshman of that capabilities, do they have ability of D1 school coming in and say, look, we want you for the next 3? Does that happen, Bryce, at this level?
It happens, and it's just a matter of, again, part of it, the recruiting efforts of the colleges and the need of different programs at any given time. Again, I personally have a family member that wasn't recruited up until the last maybe 3-4 weeks of their senior season on the girls' side of the ball, and ended up playing in a high-level D1 program. So it can happen, but ultimately, again, players at this junior college level, it's all about, again, putting performances together to make that case to say, hey, I'm someone that you should look at. And again, that's kind of the beauty of this game at this level is that players are fighting for that. And every game that they put together, win or loss, no matter where their team finishes in the standing, it's an opportunity for them to put moments and put glimpses together for coaches, at the NCAA or NAIA level with scholarship money to say, hey, here's something I can do. Here's something I can bring to your program. So even in moments like this, again, 4-0 match, 40 minutes left, it's still an opportunity for players to say, hey, here's something I can show you.
And Bryce, you make up a good point. For the young lady in your family that didn't get recruited until the final parts of the season, what kind of message does that send to other kids out there saying, hey, don't lose hope, keep the drive alive, and keep performing at a high level, and good things could potentially happen?
Well, and it's a show up and sell out type message, right? Where every day when you're out there, it's an opportunity again to show something that you can do for, again, another program. Again, Coach Matt Smith actually knows the entire situation personally, coaching at Arsenal, and the player I'm referencing took an attempt at a bicycle kick and a diving header in a match within moments of each other, and a coach stopped and said, hold on, what did that player just try to do? I haven't seen another player try that yet today. And then the conversation was started, and then you go on from there. So again, these moments that we talk about, the little things that we talk about of doing the right thing in as many possible moments, right? Those are the things that will catch someone's eye as a coach to say, hey, you know what, that's a player that could maybe bring something to my program.
Sabrina Ramos Kamada on that back end with the header, and Samantha Howell brought it in off the corner kick. So once again, we're seeing a lot of effort from that attacking back, and we have an offside call.
Just drop
So we open up now, Windsor, yeah? Windsor, we open
For
up.
Chandler Gilbert, and they'll regroup. Juanita was eyeing a potential opportunity, and the referees blew it dead.
Allie, come left.
And we see Coach Smith barking orders now. Again, this is what we talked about at halftime, right? Some of that, 45-minute dress rehearsal for the playoffs, right? Where it looks like there's a specific system that he's trying to deploy here with his players, and this is an opportunity for them to work on it against another live opponent. Is, you know, again, it's not maybe the traditional 4-3-3 we saw them come out in at the beginning of the game. So little dress rehearsal for us here.
Sure, and for Coach Smith, and most likely, and we'll have to verify this with Russ Luce, the AD of Chandler Gilbert. And Russ, safe to say, the Coyotes would be playing Phoenix College.
No, they're tied with Scottsdale. They're tied. Scottsdale and Phoenix are tied. They're both 8-1 and 2.
Got it. So we'll have to see how it plays out. They could be playing Phoenix College. They could be playing Scottsdale. They both finished tied. So interesting tiebreaker. Coach Scott Smith saying something to our left regarding the potential matchup. But either way, you got to figure he's working on things and strategizing and knows how both teams are playing and trying to play out maybe some formations and some execution here to match up against either or one of the other at some point.
Oh, absolutely. Again, anytime you're playing a team that in the conference is, you know, 11 wins throughout the regular season and 8-1 and 2 in conference play, it's someone you expect to come in and have a certain style and do a certain, be able to move the ball and possess it. So again, the clear message here in the back, there's a specific marking tactic that we're seeing here right now on the field. And again, hopefully you guys at home can see this as well with you know, where the free defender is for Chandler Gilbert, and again what the formation looks like.
Gemma Larson checking in with some knife efforts on that sideline. And as we look at the standings, Phoenix College 8-1 and 2, Scottsdale Community College 8-1 and 2. Chandler Gilbert 4-6 and 1. Pima in that mix at 5-4 and 2. So playoffs will be interesting for Chandler Gilbert. They get new life, and last year they made some noise, gave Phoenix College, which went on to win the national title, all they could handle.
Absolutely, and again, you know, once you get to that point, it's the knockout, you know, style of that conference tournament. Again, you're playing just for one day, and there's nothing to save it for. So it's something that you like to see. So again, anything can happen in those moments.
So the ref brings out the yellow card, and that yellow card comes out, and deservingly so, against Michaela Winter from Walden Grove High School. Allie Davis had the corner. Michaela Winter took her out. So the yellow card is there. A free kick for Faith Reyna.
And again, when we talk about playing against top-level opposition in tight games that matter, is hopefully we'll see obviously in the postseason, these types of moments are big, right? Can you get an opportunity to score as that free kick falls harmlessly into the hands of Alicia Anderson? Again, that's something where, you know, can you get a good delivery and at the very minimum put the back four, put the defense and the goalkeeper under pressure, so that at a later time maybe something else cracks and that pressure leads to a mistake and another opportunity. When free kicks in dangerous areas like that are essentially just given away back to a goalkeeper or an easy clearance from someone in the middle, it's tough because you lose some of the momentum that you could be gaining just by being able to play a ball in.
So Ashley Farr tangled up. Looks like that is Michaela Winters who is down. And she is lying on the turf, and she's wincing in pain. The trainer's going to come out, and they're going to take a look, and we'll take a short time out here as they attend to the player on the field. You're watching the Coyotes and the Cochise Apaches right here on the Chandler Gilbert Sports Network.
Yes, very much.
Because you're old. Russ. Russ, you're old. I wasn't talking to him. I was talking to you. I mean, it was aimed that way.
Oh, gotta go home tonight too, man. Like I'm gonna get it like it's everywhere. It's permanent around here.
That's okay. I agree because I normally can see numbers well, and it's rough.
Well, these numbers are.
It's almost as bad as white on yellow.
Yeah, no.
Price.
So that was Tessa Vrolik, who took a tumble after
They're yellow with white. Oh god. Oh, they were awful.
colliding with the Coyote player, and she is
I don't know.
slowly coming off the field. And checking back in is Michaela Winter. And Michaela working her way to the attacking back. And Vrolik moving slowly. And you hate to see injuries at any point, but especially the last game of the year when you're hoping just to play hard and leave intact physically.
No, absolutely. And again, the fact that she's walking off on her own power is probably a good sign of things to be not too serious or major in nature. Which, to your point, right? You never want to see players go down, especially at this point of the year. So good to see her back up and on her feet.
And Megan Castle was full throttle trying to track that one down. You talked about that effort, and that is collectively what the Coyotes need. That kind of effort, that sprinting all-out effort, trying to attack the ball or put a body on a body is exactly what the Coyotes need. Not just for the remainder of this 36 minutes, but in the playoffs. They've got to have that kind of effort.
Yeah.
They're going to be matched up against either Scottsdale or Phoenix College, and those teams have had phenomenal years. 8-1-2, both of them. They're tied. And to have a chance, they've got to be better. Samantha Haug, as that ball whistles right to her right, just outside the post.
Yeah, Megan's found another gear this evening so far that I can't remember seeing from her so far this season. So I don't know if it's a frustration thing of, hey, this isn't the night that we wanted. It's not the way that we've intended it, and I'm going to go do something about it. But it's been, again, for me and hopefully for the coaching staff, refreshing to see that level of just intensity getting forward. Again, a couple of the runs that she's had, it's like she's found another gear than she's had so far this season. So hopefully whatever's caused that and brought it out of her tonight is something that you can find the formula for and carry over into the postseason.
I don't know if it's a Starbucks double chocolate cappuccino or a Dutch Brothers Super Fudge Cafe Latte, but needs to say she's on point. She's bringing the energy and effort, and that has to be contagious for this team for the next match to have an opportunity.
Absolutely.
And look, Bryce, either way, if it's either Scottsdale or Phoenix College, the regular season doesn't matter.
No, and that's the beauty of the postseason, right? You could be, the fourth seed. Yes, you get the tougher opponent, the 1 seed, but at the end of the day, it is 22 plus the benches for 90 minutes, and nothing else matters. And that's the rebirth, if you will, of the postseason. That's refreshing. Is you got there. The only thing that matters, you got there. And now it's, again, it's a matter of the 90 minutes to find the winner.
Allie Davis with the near takeaway from Sabrina Ramos Kamada. Good effort. And collectively, that's what this Coyotes team needs to really focus on in his last 33 minutes and change. Bring the effort and energy, and so far, after giving up 4 first-half goals, they've held their own in this second frame. And they're more than capable of doing that. It's just some physicality going on right there.
Again, that's another player that's going to be key to the success in the postseason for the Lady Coyotes is Faith Reyna and her ability to mix it up and get involved in games and make things difficult for opposing teams in midfield.
Paula Rodan Delgado and Faith Reyna getting tangled up here in midfield, but you know what? That's what you want to see from the Coyotes. You want to see a little more physicality on the ball defending. Got to play tough, got to be on the ball, and got to be physical.
Yeah, again, and as the intensity and the pressure and the level of play elevates into the postseason, that's just something that you're going to see more and more of. and quite frankly, have as an expectation. I mean, again, I've made the joke on the broadcast before, right? An old coach of mine said, "Hey, you know what? If you didn't want contact, run track, right? Soccer is a contact sport, and there's a lot of bumping and physicality that's just part of the game, and it's one of the things that makes soccer as fun as it is."
And Chandler Gilbert has to be able to bring that physicality to slow some of these forwards down that they'll be facing in the playoff round. Skilled players, good in the open field, can turn corners quickly, great handles. Good little pooch on that right side, Paula Gonzalez. And that one is blocked away by Cadence Turner.
Do you want him on the corner?
So again, a good spell of 14 minutes, 13 minutes here from the Lady Coyotes. A little bit more organization, a little bit better defensively. One thing to note and continue watching throughout the half is, again, the back four is kind of turned into a bit of a back five-ish, or a little bit more man marking intentionally in the back, and we've found Aaron Holt a lot more kind of free, almost like a sweeper. When you start first playing, sweeper stopper is a tactic that is very easily deployed when you're at a younger age, because it's easy to teach. Okay, you three mark their three forwards, you're free, right? You ultimately, most teams kind of graduate, if you will, into a back four, but in the game itself, we've seen a lot of teams now, maybe starting to kind of go back to that. It was something that was, in vogue for a while, a little bit more of the fad, as the flat back four became more, prevalent, where, again, teams may be trying it out, and again, we see the Coyotes maybe using it a little bit this evening.
Experimenting time, getting ready for the postseason. Team down 4-0 to Cochise. 4 first half goals by the Apaches. Sabrina Emascua, the conference leading scorer with 17 coming in, a hat trick in the first half. And now we have a player down for the Apaches. And binoculars, come on. Trying to give you a number, and once again, it's very, very hard to read the numbers off the Apaches jerseys. They are in black and red with the outline of the number in red, so it's very hard to see. And we don't have the luxury of VAR, even though Russ Luce is working on that for his next athletic budget, along with instant replay for all the sports.
He's been lobbying for that for some time, as we get a chuckle out of him here to our right.
And Scott Smith, I even got a chuckle out of Scott. He's like, I think Scott's just, he's got the sense of the ease of the pressure off his shoulders. He now knows his team is going to the postseason. Yeah, is he liking the outlook and the eventual score of this game? No, but he knows he gets another shot. And, all you want is that chance.
Yeah, chip in a chair, as they say. You have a chip in a chair.
Huh? Absolutely. Not sure what it is, but
So everyone right here is
chiming in now. With
chiming in.
If any of these, if any jokes were flown out from us,
Yeah.
in any direction 20 minutes ago, would have been falling on deaf ears.
Yeah. Matt Smith rifling some off. Scott right to my left. He's good spirits. Russ to my right. Good energy here for this Chandler Gilbert soccer team that's going to make it to the postseason. And how about that on the back end for an injury for the Apaches as a player's being helped off, and just a great sign of sportsmanship by Corinne Noose and Aaron Holt helping the player off, helping carry the player off the field. And, ultimately everyone wants to win, everyone wants to play hard, but it is a sport, and you don't want to see anyone get hurt, and you just love to see the Coyotes extending that helping hand and showing a great display of sportsmanship along the way.
Absolutely, and again, something that as we talk about the postseason, and it is a reality now for the Lady Coyotes. It's something where you'd love to see Aaron Holt carry the defense, maybe a little bit more heavily than we have tonight. And again, the kind of switch in tactics and leaving her free to roam a little bit more specifically. Again, it's worked for the first 14 so far this half. And again, something we hope to see from her in the postseason, because, again, some of those key players in specific spots of the field are going to have to play like key players, right? You can't have one of your better players not live up to to what that billing and what they are for you and for your program. So again, good to get in. Not the result, as we've said many times so far this evening, but still 30 minutes to get something a little bit more positive out of this match.
Sabrina Ramos Kamada on the free kick, and that one is pooched just off the post, and a lucky bounce for the Coyotes away from the striker, who they had two flanking right in front of Samantha Haug, and that time the luck of the soccer gods in favor of the Coyotes on a good quality effort by Ramos Kamada, who's been so good in the back end for the Apaches and has provided so much offensive support. And that looks like a hand call, and Nothman, the center ref, said that went off her arm and not the hand. So Chandler Gilbert gets a break there.
That was a friendly decision, we'll call it.
Yeah, for sure. Taylor Brown's about to check back in. Taylor seeing action after returning from a leg injury. She's trying to get her conditioning back up. And Bryce, how hard is it for a player? You coming off an injury, you missed 3-4 games. This one booted, head knock right to the left of the post, and you're coming off an injury and you're just trying to sustain your conditioning. How do you go about providing some quality minutes when you might not be fully at 150% on the conditioning side?
No, absolutely. You gotta not ease your way back into it, because there's a barrier that you expect of kind of your limitation that you have, and that barrier lowers after an injury rather, and you have to push through it, and you have to really be able to break it in order to get back to where you were. But at the same time, there's another mental barrier that isn't often talked about, that's part of the rehab process, where again, especially if it's a knee or an ankle, where you have to have that confidence to be able to move a little bit more freely like you would have before the injury, right? Because again, soccer, the game itself, so much lateral movement, cutting and changing directions. And again, whether it's a knee or an ankle, anything lower body, there's a level of confidence that you just have to have, that whatever that injured, body part was before the injury and now after it, is it going to be able to react and behave the way that I want it to post rehab, right? And that's something that we haven't seen as much free flowing movement from Taylor Brown tonight, and it's something maybe that she's still kind of getting back underneath her a little bit.
And Cheyenne Castillo about to check back in. Cheyenne, in her freshman season, now call her a soon-to-be sophomore, after having a stellar senior season at Eastmark, over 30 goals for that program, as Kamada tumbles on the turf, and possession in favor of the Apaches.
Yeah, and again, she's a player that, again, we talked earlier about Erin Holt, and that's someone that, again, one of your key players that you need to be able to rise to the occasion in the postseason. I think Cheyenne's another perfect example of that, where when she's on her game and playing at her best, she can be a difference maker for this team, and something that you need to see consistently from her on a night in, night out basis. And ultimately in the playoffs, there is only one night, and so again, someone that you Coach Smith and company will rely on to really play well and bring something to the table.
And that is a goal by Sabrina Ramos Kamada. Knocks it in off the free kick. Call it about 30 yards out, inside the left post, beating Samantha Haug. And now a 5-0 Cochise lead. And let's also talk about the difference in personnel. Jocelyn Hansborough was a starter at forward for this Chandler Gilbert team and showed great promise in the preseason. And she was lost because of a concussion, and now she's sitting out the rest of the season. So it's not like Scott along the way is he's had continuity offensively. And this team in different parts, they've had so many injuries. It's almost been like putting a tourniquet on a nonstop wound that you want to heal, and just when you think you do, another area remains harmed, and that's what he's had to deal with as bodies connect. Ashley Farr connecting with a Cochise player. Taylor trying to clear it out, pushed up. Cheyenne in the middle, and center ref blows it in favor, and Cochise, no hesitation, get after it immediately.
No, and to your point, again, especially when you're, playing with either a front two or a front three, right? Those attackers kind of have to be on the same page and understand a little bit of their teammates' tendencies and what they want to do, and some of the moves that those players are going to make. And ultimately, right, you play with different things on the training ground, and you talk to each other, as an attacking unit, and you have ideas of what you want to do maybe in certain scenarios and patterns of play that you're looking to get into. But at the end of the day, nothing can truly be said for strikers that are clicking, where you can look over at someone and give them a glance, and you know what the other person's thinking. So it's been that way, again, not just with the front three rather, but in the midfield, and even at times with the back four, with the goalkeeping situation that they've had this season, with Aaron Holt having to put the gloves on and jump back, and then creating, again, an entire snowball effect of rotational positions across the pitch changing. So again, you saw the win streak there of a few games for the Coyotes, where again you maybe found a little bit of that continuity, and maybe a lackluster performance Saturday, and again a really tough opponent tonight. But the more time that they can spend on the pitch as a collective, quote unquote best 11, hopefully the better off that they'll be in that first playoff match, whether it's Scottsdale or whether it is Phoenix College.
And those are the scenarios, and the road is where the Coyotes will go for that matchup. And we might be able to take the show on the road and broadcast one of those games. Of course, it's up to the opposing athletic departments, but Chandler Gilbert AD Russ Luce is so big on supporting his teams in the playoffs, and if there's a possibility we can do that, as that shot goes wide, we could potentially make that happen, and Bryce and myself could be either downtown Phoenix at Phoenix College off 23rd Avenue in Thomas, or head up to Scottsdale up the 101.
And our wonderful athletic director that you just mentioned is hitting the phones hard here, trying to find out what the scores have been on the final day around the conference, in order to see if we can determine who the first round matchup will be for us. So we'll get you that information as soon as we have it, as Russ is hard at work making that happen for us.
Russ is working his fingers intensely right now to bring us answers for all those Chandler Gilbert soccer faithful out there. Once again, a good crowd tonight. Here comes Cochise, and on that back end, as Megan Holt and Leah Aguilar-Alvarez about to check in, and they high-five each other, and gotta love that enthusiasm. And for Chandler Gilbert, it really is kind of refreshing. Coach Smith and the coaching staff, they were tightly wound when this one started, and they didn't like the way the first half unfolded with 4 goals, 3 by Samantha. Make that Sabrina Amascua, who had 3 in the first half, 20 on the season now. Now we have a water break, but as that score came in from Glendale, and Glendale knocked off Mesa to eliminate Mesa from postseason contention, the team and coaching staff now breathing some fresh air and knowing they have second life.
Yeah, you could feel the pressure and the tension building up. And again, you and I talked about it at the break. I mean, when the first goal went in, and it read 1-0 on the scoreboard for the Apaches, especially after the first 7 or 8 minutes, was, well, in all reality, heavily in favor of the Coyotes. I think that the team had a moment of collective, oh no. And you could kind of see it on their faces and in the way they were playing, very tight after that moment. And I think that tightness kind of took effect and ultimately led to maybe some mistakes that they might not have made had there been, you know, a little bit more positive cohesion throughout the unit. But ultimately, you know, the pressure isn't going to go away now just because they've found their way into the tournament. It's just going to ratchet up to another level when they get to the postseason tournament. So ultimately, between now and then, you know, you hope the coaching staff is able to talk to their squad and help them, you know, find a little bit of a better way to deal with it. Because at the end of the day, things aren't always going to go your way. Mistakes are going to be made. The reality of it, they might find themselves down 1-0 again at some point. Hopefully not. Obviously, we don't want that to be the case, but it's a reality that again, at any level as an athlete, you should be able to deal with and not expect, but know how to reverse when it does come your way. And it's something that tonight hasn't been their way. But again, hopefully, time to patch that hole.
You're right. Patch the hole and realize that along the way there's going to be, in the course of any pitch, there are going to be moments of ups and downs, but don't stress and don't live off the mistake. Just continue to play hard. And if you play hard, you play aggressive, you stay on the ball, they will have a chance. Scott Smith is like, you know what? The clock says 21-28, but
I like all of you.
all the referees are like, let's get this going. Let's, you know, we're in. You know, we can start, and you want to wind that down about 59 seconds, we'd be good with that as well. But I say that in jest, of course, because we have to play this one out. But good spirits for the Coyotes as that one is knocked across. A good effort on the attacking front by the Coyotes and showing some pressure. And this is what we have to see. And kind of talked about the playoffs, Bryce, the intensity. What's it like in the postseason? How much do the Coyotes have to raise their level of play, raise their level of focus? And as we mentioned, maybe that focus wasn't there against Mason. Maybe in the first couple minutes it wasn't here against Cochise. But how much better does it have to be in the playoffs where everything, the stakes are that much higher?
Yeah, again, it's the little things that have to be done at an incredibly high level at all times. Perfect example of that, the last opportunity for the Coyotes. Cheyenne on the back post there, turned off just for half a moment and on the back post. And again, if she's fully dialed in and fully ready in that moment, again, maybe she gets on the end of that cross, is able to take a touch and put it in for a goal. And in tight games and big games like that, one goal can be and sometimes is all of the difference in a match. And those little moments, those little mistakes where it's something that is easily fixable, but it has to be on high alert and at 100% for the entire 90 minutes.
So not only is Russ Luce an unstoppable force of athletic director leadership, he's also providing some information right now. Phoenix College is leading Scottsdale 2-1 with about 21 minutes left. Of course, that'll affect the final playoff seedings in the Division II, Region 1 scenario. So we'll see how that plays out when we've got about 19 and change left, and the Coyotes have played much better in this second half.
No, absolutely. You know, again, we mentioned Scottsdale and Phoenix College both being tied going into the final match tonight. Those two teams have been facing off just not too far up the freeway from us, but the top seed on the line in that matchup. And again, that's something we'll keep our eyes closely peeled to, as that will affect who the Lady Coyotes play in the first round.
And for the Coyotes, you have to feel for them. They've got nothing to lose, right? They can play loose, relaxed. The pressure's either going to be on Scottsdale or Phoenix College. So in that first 5 minutes, how important is it for Chandler Gilbert to come out, maybe steal a goal early, set the tone early?
Oh, absolutely. And again, I think you saw it tonight in the game against Cochise, where there were a couple opportunities where Cochise was a little sloppy in the back. Allie Davis given a little bit of extra space and a shot fired off, and a goalkeeper that made a great save. And then another opportunity, Megan Castle, who's played very well after that moment, but had an opportunity that you maybe expected her to do a little bit better with. So again, those are the little things that as a coach we talk about, where when your moment comes, are you able to perform at a level necessary to succeed? Because again, you give Megan 100 shots from just inside the box, right? I mean, how many of those is she going to put in? It's not a small number. It's going to probably be, I'd say easily 60, maybe even 70 of them, right? But in that moment, early in a game, are you fully dialed in and ready to capitalize? Because again, in tight matches, that might be the only opportunity you get. And that's, again, especially, you know, in soccer, when so much of it can be played in midfield and so much of it can be contested between two hardworking and again, ultimately, hopefully even match teams. Those are the differences. And so, again, something that they'll talk about in training this week going forward, and then hopefully, you know, putting into practice then in round one of the postseason.
Another amazing shot over the goalpost. A 5-0 lead for Cochise. As right now, all the conference officials are checking the brackets and checking the standings and checking the scoreboards to see how it will all unfold.
Again, we mentioned 2-1 to Phoenix College over Scottsdale. So as the result stands now, it would be a trip to downtown Phoenix on tap for the Lady Coyotes. So again, we'll keep you posted on the changes.
And we saw Phoenix College and Chandler Gilbert play a thriller last year, as this one is knocked to the left of the post. Coyotes lost that one 1-0. Regular season, the Coyotes were shut out by the Bears, but once again, that's all ancient history. We've seen playoffs, upsets, thrillers throughout the course of this conference great history.
Yeah, Coach Smith likely to have selective memory, maybe forget the match that took place this regular season, but then remind the team of the playoff game last year that was only a 1-0 defeat in the conference tournament, and say, hey, one ball bounces a different direction, and it could be a different match. So, you know, there's plenty of optimism for the staff to still speak to throughout the coming week at training.
Grand News checking out, Faith Reyna checking in, 15 and change. And of course, keep it right here on the Chandler Gilbert Sports Network. We'll talk to a couple of the players about going to the postseason, and a great accomplishment for the team. Not everyone gets to go. Not everyone has the wherewithal to make the postseason, and this team has persevered, and through injuries and juggling lineups. Samantha Haug was not even supposed to be the team's leading goaltender. It was going to be Tatum Lally, who in the course of paperwork became ineligible, and that was a huge factor for the team. But Samantha's done a great job learning, and she's going to be that much better between the pipes next year. All the experience she's gotten. And Megan Castle about to check in, who's just a burst of joy, a burst of energy, and she's played a fantastic match tonight. Yeah.
Within earshot, so
yeah.
Joe throwing the plug in there. She was able to catch it as Cheyenne coming off the field a little gingerly here. That tackle, a bit of a tangled mess of legs.
And Matt Smith having a conversation with Cheyenne right now, trying to keep her spirits up. Had a chance to meet Scott and Matt's dad in the parking lot as I was coming in. And let me tell you something. Matt Smith looks identical to Dad. Now, Scott said he'll look just like his dad too, but Matt Smith right now, splitting image of dear old Dad.
Absolutely.
A soccer family. They've all played soccer and did great things in their time. Grew up in Illinois as well as Mesa. East Coast as well. Good work on that back end by Kamada. Kamada's had an excellent match for Cochise.
Taylor Brown working hard through the middle there. It was a good initial tackle to break up the play, and possession fell right back to Cochise. However, we're seeing her move around a little bit in midfield and defend. Not a sight for sore eyes for the Lady Coyotes, seeing her mix it in and get involved into some tackles there.
And the physicality is what the Coyotes are going to have to deliver. Can't be faint of heart when you get to the postseason where you give up loose space. That's the difference in freedom for a attacking back, getting the ball to the midfielder and then working it to the front, and a striker with a golden opportunity. Sabrina Amiskua, 3 goals in this one. Paula Gonzalez also a goal, and on that back end, Sabrina Ramos Kamada on the free kick made it 5-0, and that is where we are. Good news is Chandler Gilbert, they're in the postseason for the 2nd year in a row. Scott Smith building a program to be proud of, and he has his ladies in playoffs yet again after enduring a mash unit kind of year. I asked him about that. I said, how tough has it been? Because your team offensively could never really hit its stride between all the players that were lost. And he says it's tough. You know, he expected more, but that's the card he was given. He's got to play it out. And now this team in the final 11 minutes and 30 seconds, they've got to build on this second half. The first half, Coach Smith, and you saw it, Bryce, let's not sugarcoat it. The team did not show up against Mesa, and they have to be better. And it's not just going out there, but going out there and playing like it's the last thing your life is depending on, right? You got to play with that will and fire. Because at this point, look, you're going to line up and you know what the executional plan is going to be of the other team. Phoenix College or Scottsdale, they're going to try to impose their will early. And Chandler Gilbert's got to have the fight and will in that next round, just like they did last year. And just like we've seen them in times this year, but a collective 2 halves of a pitch.
Yeah, no, it's about putting the full 90 minutes together. And again, we're seeing, or we have seen rather, glimpses of it throughout the season where, again, they've shown that they can play with some of the better sides, but you know, sometimes that knockout format of, again, win or go home, and this is all that is left to play for. Sometimes that you know, is a benefit for players, because again, it can bring the best out of you of knowing that, hey, season's done, right? And again, there was some element to that tonight. Ultimately, the loss from Mesa is what got the Lady Coyotes into the match, or into the playoffs rather. But there was an element of that do or die tonight. But there was also still an out, if you will, right? Again, once the postseason starts, there is no out. There is no second chance. There is no maybe if something else. No, it's fully the do or die. And sometimes, again, when your back's against the wall as a player and as a team, you know, you come together and you rally around that, and it brings the best out of you. And again, hopefully that's something that we'll see from our ladies in white, or teal, probably, in their away uniforms after our next match here coming up against, again, Phoenix College as it stands now, as we're hitting the circuit looking for updates.
And I'm going to bring out one of the most classic sports quotes of all time. Digging into my Rocky Balboa history, courtesy of Apollo Creed.
Bring it.
There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Amen.
Right? Got to live for that moment and embrace that moment and give it 150%. Get in, get up, step in, and step up.
Absolutely. And I'm hitting the Twitterverse here, or X now as it's more not so, or affectionately known. We still have a 2-1 2-1 score, it looks like, between Phoenix College and Scottsdale Community College. So, again, as it stands right now.
And that update was about 16 minutes ago, and that was with 21 minutes left. So figure, you know, another 10, 12 minutes of taking off that
Absolutely.
off that scoreboard.
Maybe looking around, you know, again, like you said, 10, maybe 11 minutes left in that one.
So the chant from Chandler Gilbert to Phoenix College, call it 20 minutes or so. Good bus ride there. And of course, Phoenix College located off Thomas Road, downtown Phoenix, roughly 23rd Avenue or so. I actually taught a class there back in the day, Bryce.
Oh.
I taught a broadcasting class. So for us Luce ever wants to dial me in for a journalism class, he might be able to sway me into teach here at Chandler Gilbert. Anything but math.
Never a numbers guy.
I was never a numbers guy. 2 + 2, 6.5. I just can't do it.
There you go.
To this day. That's why I went journalism.
See, and as an athlete, they tell me how much time's left on the scoreboard, so I don't have to count it.
A melee out in front, and this one, another shot that scorched past the right post. Another effort.
Again, you'd like to see, again, Chandler Gilbert tighten down a little bit defensively here. Don't let it get any bigger of a lead than it already is. Keep it at 5. Again, like you said, play with a little bit of pride. Again, there are some starters that are definitely on the sideline now, getting a little bit of a rest and maybe, you know, safety minutes on the bench, right? Any additional injuries would be very unwanted, as frequent as they've come so far this season for the Lady Coyotes. So, you know, maybe not your typical 11 on the pitch at the moment, but there's still the pride factor, and again the whole gathering of momentum, if you will, playing better the last, you know, now 6 minutes and change in order to build on something going into the postseason.
And we've seen some good efforts by that defensive back pressure of Sabrina Ramos Camada from Sao Paulo, Brazil. And that is a shot right into a Cochise player. Drilled by Taylor Brown, and that player's on the turf as the center ref comes over. Looking like they're just trying to stretch out the legs. Maybe some cramping going on potentially, but no question, she was hit pretty hard with a point-blank shot.
Yeah, that looked like they knocked the wind out of her there. I think, I've seen Taylor hit a few long balls in practice, and she is not one that holds anything back when she's letting it rip. So I definitely would not have preferred to have been on the end of that myself.
Taylor played her high school ball at Basha, not afraid on camera.
Us Bears are typically that way. Yeah.
Yes. Did you go to Basha as well,
yes,
Bryce?
Basha High School, class
Wow.
of a long time ago.
Sure. Joe Pequeno, class of Bogosiega High School, back in Gulfport, Florida, a long time ago as well.
There you go. We don't need to date ourselves there.
No, no. My carbon dating, I don't know if you have the tools capable enough to classify my age bracket, so I'm just letting water, Mother Nature, and healthy eating do that for me. And Samantha Howe comes out of the box and knocks that one away.
Good to see her come off her line with some confidence there and get to the ball and contest the striker and make it ultimately a good save there as she was beaten to it. Again, we talked about, you know, the mistake early on in this match that, you know, quite frankly, turned a little bit of the energy and the momentum the wrong direction. And, you know, she's made some saves when called upon in moments, you know, here. So, you know, again, maybe something to build on for her there confidence-wise, you know, moving into the playoffs.
If something like that should happen in the first round matchup, whether it's Phoenix College or Scottsdale, what's the collective message from the coaching staff after a play that does not go in their favor?
Well, it's just got to be, hey, you know, at the end of the day, you gotta have a short-term memory and just know, hey, you know, when a mistake happens, we all make them. Obviously, Mistakes in net are typically punctuated with a lot more effect because it results in going down on the score sheet. But ultimately, again, you look at opportunities that have been missed and good goal-scoring chances that haven't found the net. And the message from your coaching staff is, hey, if we're all holding ourselves accountable in certain moments, right? There should be 3 on the score sheet, for the Coyotes at this point. Or very well could be at least 2. So when a mistake is made, you rally around your teammate that made the mistake, and everybody sells out and puts forth maximum effort to pick their teammate up and make up for it collectively as a unit, because one player is never really going to do that. It's more about, again, coming together as a unit and making that effort.
And you got to wonder if Megan would have had a better shot on goal in the first opening minutes of that first half. And then let's not understate the great save by Alicia Andrews on the shot by Allie Davis, which was a beautiful shot. And great players make great plays, and Alicia Andrews made a great play. And you got to wonder if one of those two trickle in, how much difference this game could be right now. A vote of confidence, a shot of adrenaline right off the top, and all of a sudden everyone's maxed effort, max focus, the rest of the pitch.
Oh, absolutely. And again, make no mistake about it, Cochise Apaches have dominated the majority of this game, both in possession and just with the pace of play, and they've been clear, in multiple areas all over the pitch. But for the first 7 minutes, again, Chandler Gilbert did come out on the front foot, and maybe blame it on the bus problems, but they had the Apaches on their heels. And again, if you can get one early, especially again thinking about the playoffs upcoming, right, as an underdog, if you get one early, you build a level of confidence and more importantly, maybe even a shred of doubt in an opponent that, again, does change the course of the match. And again, especially in the college game, right, momentum is just such a huge thing for players and even coaches, right, where you're trying to find ways to gain a little bit of it in moments and not give it away in others. And, making a save like we mentioned Alicia Andrews did, right, that sometimes swings old Mo the other direction. And again, that certainly was the case tonight, and, very well could be one of, if not the moment of the match in this one so far.
And we do have a final. Phoenix College does knock off Scottsdale Community College 2-1, so the Coyotes will go on the road to play Phoenix College, and we'll try to get a date and time in the course of the next 10 minutes as this one is winding down the 30-second mark and counting. So this Cochise team will finish the year 7-5-2, 5-4-2 in league play. Coyotes will finish 4-8-1 overall, 4-7-1 in league play, but they're in. And now it's a new season for them to build on. Attacking chance for Cochise out front, and that is knocked in. And they stamped this one with their 6th goal tonight. And that is going to do it. And that goal, once again, by Sabrina Amascua.
Takes her tally to 21 for this season in 11 conference games, nearly 2 a match. It's her 4th.
Tied for the conference record, so that's why we're like 4-2.
Sabrina Amascua, 4 goals on the night. So the Coyotes, they lose this one, but they also a sense of relief as they punch their ticket to the postseason. As you can see, the ladies coming off the field and some smiles, and they can feel the weight of the world off their shoulders, but also, there's some concern. They lost a winnable pitch against Mesa that they didn't bring the effort, and in the course of not being able to capitalize offensively in the first couple minutes, they kind of didn't have the effort and energy needed in the back end, which led to a quick goal. And you kind of talked about it, Bryce, it kind of opened the floodgates emotionally. And these are young athletes, and young athletes have to be able to handle prosperity. They also have to be able to handle adversity. We saw that in the college game the other night with Colorado leading Stanford 29-0. And Stanford roared back to beat Deion Sanders' team in overtime. And here, Chandler Gilbert. Maybe a turning point in that first half was the great save by Alicia Andrews over Allie Davis, who made an incredible shot from about 25 yards out. But Cochise played it out. They scored some goals, and they took the victory. And they get back on the bus, hopefully safely back to their part of Arizona in a safe way. And they showed well for their program and a team that's continuing to build for Coach Escalera in his second year. And for Chandler Gilbert, they're on the side, and they know that they're in the postseason, but still a lot more work to be done.
Yeah, no, you mentioned and you alluded to it, right? A little bit of concern still where, again, at the end of the day, a must-win match where you controlled your own destiny and you're walking home with a 6-0 scoreline. Not obviously what you'd want to see, but again, more importantly, when things don't go your way or the break doesn't quite bounce in your favor, how do you respond as a unit? And again, for a large portion, or in all reality, the rest of the first half, it was one-way traffic and not the type of effort you would have liked to have seen from the Lady Coyotes for the first 45 minutes. Again, the second half got a lot better. There were less gaps, defensively, and there was some organization that had been shored up, but ultimately still did give up 2 goals. And a lot of work to be done here between now and the first match of the postseason that we have confirmed will be against Phoenix College. So a lot of work in front of them. But again, you touched on the 1-0 anything can happen match last year in the postseason between those two sides, and again, hopefully another tightly contested 90 minutes ahead for the Lady Coyotes against the Bears.
And right now, Coach Scott Smith is addressing his team, and we'll keep it here. We'll see if a couple athletes can come over and talk about the squad punching its ticket to the postseason for the second consecutive year, and that's a tremendous feat, regardless of the record, how it went down. Look, sometimes in life, the road to success is not always an easy one, and the bottom line is you cherish the journey there. And the Coyotes, through a season that you name things could have gone wrong physically, they did. But here they are. They're going to the postseason for the second year in a row. And baseball playoff score, after losing to the Phillies in Game 1 last night, things not much better in Game 2, with the Phillies leading the Diamondbacks in the NLCS 8-0 in the 7th inning. So the Diamondbacks running into a Philly squad red hot, a team that took down the front runners and the Atlanta Braves, and now Philly is putting a charge in the Diamondbacks. Bryce Harper homered last night, and now Philadelphia with a commanding 8-0 lead in that game in the 7th inning. So Scott Smith talking to his team, and we will see if the squad will have a moment to come over. And we kind of look at the Coyotes, and we talk about Phoenix College, the 1-0 match last year. These squads met this year, and as we look back, that was September 12th, and that was a 6-0 loss to Phoenix College, and that was a match, the Coyotes didn't really have any good opportunities. Phoenix College dominated, and it started a string where after that they lost to Yavapai 4-0. They lost to Scottsdale 4-0, and their match against Glendale was ultimately canceled and pushed back later. They tied Pima, started a 4-match unbeaten streak, a win over Gateway 3-0. PV 6-0 win, a 2-0 win over Glendale Community College, which was a very physical game. A 4-1 loss to Mesa just last Saturday, and now the 6-0 loss here. So over the course of, you kind of see some different journeys in the course of the season for the Coyotes. A tough stretch where nothing could go right. They had to make a change because Tatum Lally was no longer eligible. And then, of course, the injuries. We saw Aaron Holt at times play the goalie position. They ran into a gauntlet in that schedule, of course, playing Phoenix College, Yavapai, and Scottsdale. And those are 3 just outstanding teams. in this league, and then they go on the 4-match unbeaten streak, and then they kind of tail off at the very end. None of that matters now. It's about reharnessing the effort and energy to bring the A effort. And I'm excited about this team because all the injuries, they've persevered, and here they are. So keep it here, keep it locked and loaded, and we'll see if we can get a couple of the ladies to come and join us right here on the Chandler Gilbert Sports Network. Allie, can we grab you?
Here you go. How's it? Feel okay?
Just gotta keep going. I just take a lot of medicine right now. So I'll feel it after game. During the games, it usually doesn't bother me.
My junior, senior year, so I feel you. I'm
Yeah.
empathetic to other knee people.
Yeah.
That shot in the first half, you thought it was in?
Yes, I was so disappointed. I was like, please don't get it, please don't get it. I was like, it was a good save on her part, though.
And we welcome you back to Chandler Gilbert. I'm with Allie Davis, the star freshman for the Chandler Gilbert soccer team. And Allie, not the way the script was supposed to be written. A 6-0 loss here to Cochise, but the bottom line, you get some luck, courtesy of Glendale knocking off Mesa. You're in the postseason. Do you breathe a sigh of relief knowing that you're in?
Yes, I'm so excited to still have another chance to play again.
And you talk about playing again, and you know, and this one, as we reflect on that first half, I think maybe a turning point is a couple shots early. Megan had the good look from the left side, just the missed kick, and on your shot, wow, just a beautiful, booming knock, and Alicia Andrews, the goaltender for Cochise, just made a fantastic stop. Let's talk about your strike on that one, where maybe if that one gets in, it's kind of a different momentum and a different feel of this game.
Yeah, I think for me, I saw the center back coming in and my outside back coming in, and I knew I had just one touch to hit it in. But I do think once we get one goal in us, we do a lot better at getting more after and after that. But it did stink that she saved it. It was an amazing save on her part, but I still think we played well.
So now you kind of look at this season, kind of a tale of all kinds of injuries and persevering, and you went through that tough stretch of losing to Yavapai, Phoenix College, Scottsdale, nursing all kinds of injuries throughout that one, getting shut out in all three. Then you go on the 4-match unbeaten streak, and then with an opportunity to clinch a postseason berth, you lose at Mesa 4-1, and then the loss tonight. How do you think this team is ultimately playing going into the postseason? Not that it matters, but your collective thoughts of what has to get better going into the postseason.
I think definitely at the first half, we were really struggling on communication. There was miscommunication between our midfielders, defenders up top, and that's when they would get open and have the wide open shot. So I definitely think we just need to be more careful and make sure we're communicating with each other so that we know who's stepping to each man.
Okay, so Phoenix College, get another crack at them. This time it's at their place. First time around, they beat you 4-0. Not a lot of opportunities. What has to improve the next time around to go there and pull off the stunner, which we're all hoping for the Chandler Gilbert Coyotes?
I think definitely finding balls through like we've been working on, everyone coming to play, being ready for the game, preparing ourselves for the game the best we can, and just getting it done.
And how important is it to come out just with that mentality, 150%, to go all out like it's the most important thing at that moment, which, of course, when you step up in that field and take on the Bears, and they're going to be favored, they're playing at home, but to come with that relentless effort nonstop, how important is that?
I think it's very important. If we come out and play like we know how to play, we can definitely win.
Okay, and that is Allie Davis and the Coyotes. They're punching their ticket. They're going to play the Phoenix College Bears in the postseason tournament. We'll have more with Megan Castle, who's about to join us. She's iced up right to my left, but always exuberant and ready to bring the charm. Locked and loaded. Keep it right here on the Chandler Gilbert Sports Network.